Hi everyone. Um, Today we are going to talk about a little bit of user experience. In advance, I'm sorry because my accent is not very good. English is not my native language. Maybe you can already notice that. I don't have a lot of words, fancy words, so please forgive me if I'm a little bit rude sometimes. But I learned English playing video games, so you know how is that. Okay, let's start with this. All of you can see my screen, right? Perfect. Well, today we are going to talk about user experience, but not the user experience for designers. In this case, we are going to talk about user experience that is not for designers. How all of us, depending on what we are doing in our projects, how can we give ideas or how can we be helpful when we are designing a digital product. We are going to talk about what is user experience, literally. Then what is user experience design, that is something different. Some key elements when we are designing user experiences. And then what can we do in our roles in a project as developers, as testers, as designers? What can we do to help out when we are providing ideas or consulting in these projects as our roles with our expertise? Okay, and we are going to talk about some techniques, examples that can help us out to reach better design, better digital products without being designers. Okay, so let's get into it. First of all, what is user experience? Literally. An experience is something, it's a perception that, or a response that we get after using some product, system, or service. I don't know if any of you have experience in something like in this image, these kind of lines that are very difficult to use, these three strings that they have. So you can move one and moves very randomly. Whenever you are using something, you are going to get an output, a response, a perception. And this perception could be positive or negative. And that is an experience, literally. When we use anything, maybe all of you have, for example, all of you are wearing clothes and you have an experience with your clothes. I hope all of you are wearing clothes, of course. But everything detonates an experience, a response of an experience. So this experience could be subjective because sometimes you can use something and you say, I don't think this product is very good. I don't like it. But maybe the person that is next to you says, I like it. And then what the hell? Are these experiences universal? Well, yes and no. We all are humans. We all can use them. But our subjective perception of these experiences is going to be changing with our environment, with our experiences, how we grew up. A lot of factors can affect how can perceive a good experience or a bad experience. So this could be a subjective matter. So what is user experience design? Okay, as we saw in the previous slide, it's an experience. So experience designers make processes to provide meaningful and relevant experiences to users. If we have some products that doesn't provide a meaningful experience, what user experience designers can make is create processes to provide a better user experience. In this image, the example is that I don't know if any of you have ever tried these glass bottles of ketchup to use them. Sometimes you have to smack the rear of the bottle to get out all the ketchup, and sometimes even spills of all the ketchup in the table or over your food. And in time, there was a better proposal for this, and it was a plastic bottle, flexible plastic bottle that you can squeeze and get the ketchup out with ease. And also you can store it downwards, so the gravity helps the ketchup get out easily. So it's a improvement from the previous design. And knowing what is going on with the product, we can start making changes to ease the experience of the users and iterating them. This new bottle has his own flaws. The gravity starts spilling the ketchup even when it's closed, and has another kind of problems, but it's getting better, right? So the user experience design it's in charge of creating processes to get all the information for making a product useful, usable, desirable, accessible, credible, valuable for the users. Because we are looking in the users' loyalty, so the users can keep using our products. So understanding the users is key to develop a great product. So user experience design is in charge of looking for that information, understanding the user, what tool am I going to use to provide a better product. It's not about design, drawing things, drawing wireframes. No, that's why this talk is about user experience. Is not for designers. Only if you can draw doesn't mean you can do user experience. You have to know. You have to research you have to understand the users. So let's see this example. For example, even the great ones sometimes make mistakes. A lot of people is in love with Apple products, right? But even them that are very famous for detailing a lot of their products, thinking in design, ease of use, sometimes even they make mistakes. We have this example. I don't know if you ever used or saw this example, but in this case, a common mistake is putting design before ease of use or usability. In this case, the mouse is super nice, beautiful, sleek, aesthetic, but when you have to charge it, it's a nightmare. You cannot use the device while it's charging. You have to put it in this position, a very weird position, while it's charging. Eventually, this design was fixed, but this got into production like this. So sometimes even the big ones commit this mistake of putting design before the ease of use. That's why we have to understand what are we going to do with the products and how the users are going to use it. And when taking this in mind, let's take a look at 3 key elements in user experience design. And this is my perspective. There could be a lot of elements. I'm addressing these 3 ones to make sense in this talk that we are doing today. So user experience design has these 3 key elements. Accessibility, because we should aim for universal good experiences. And we as humans are not the same. We have different capacities, different abilities, different proportions, etc. So we should aim to be accessible. Another element is design. As I said before, that process that will help you get the right information from the users, from the stakeholders, from the developers, from everyone to start building a great, usable product. And also we have usability. If the product is very beautiful, it has all the functionality that the stakeholders want, if it has the technology that the development team wants, it's fine. But if it's not usable, the users are not going to use it. So, first of all, accessibility. Not all users are in the same conditions. And this is a very, very wide topic of discussion. We can aim for all the users, but the users are not the same. Some users have limited sight, limited hearing, have another kind of capabilities. Even the elderly people, that is a very important group of people that we are designing products today. They have a sum of many challenges to get around digital products. So accessibility is key to reach out to try to achieve a universal good experiences. In this case, I would like to recommend you another Afterwork by Raquel Ruiz that has amazing explanation about accessibility. You can watch it on YouTube. You have the link right there. It's in Spanish, but you can turn on the subtitles, the closed captions, and check it out. It's super interesting. It's called the 7 Deadly Sins of Inclusive Design. You can check it out. It addresses all this accessibility problem for saying when we are designing digital products. So check it out. You have a great explanation there. The other element, the design, is a strategy to get all the information required to design a great product. In all these phases. In this graphic, I'm addressing a particular way of a strategy that is design thinking. And it starts with empathizing with the user. And what are we going to do to empathize with the users? What tools we have to empathize with the user? And in this phase, there's a lot of methods, a lot of tools to get the proper information about the user. So many techniques like interviews, surveys, workshops, shadowing, a lot of tools to get the information to understand and empathize with the user. Also have another phases in the user-centric user design process, like ideation, prototyping, testing, defining, and this iterative way of building a product. And there's a lot of tools and methods in this phase of the user experience design. This could be another Afterwork, 10 Afterworks to speak just of this phase of the user experience design, because it's huge. There's a lot of tools, very interesting tools to get the proper information, to ideate solutions, to get your own prototypes, testing, and then create a delivery for the development team. And what we are going to talk today is usability. Dealing with that user subjective perception with objective efficiency. Because sometimes the users don't have the same perception that we do when we are designing products or developing products. And maybe the user's face sometimes is like this one. And better said, dealing with users and developers and stakeholders and designers subjective perception with objective efficiency. Because sometimes when we are developing a product, we can say, this is awesome. I love it. It's going super awesome, this project. But then the user can have a different perspective because he doesn't know what is behind the product. He doesn't know the back end of the product, how it's coded, the technology, the fancy technology that we are using. They don't see it that way. We have to remember that for the users, the interface is a product. And that is something that we have to struggle every day to fight our subjective perception of the product and understand what the user is expecting. Because we are designing for humans. We need to design usable products, and as I said before, look for the user's loyalty. So, who should be concerned about designing a good user experience? I think you guys. Or, better said, all of us participating in the creation of a digital product. Not only the designers sometimes have the responsibility of measuring the success of the application, but even when we are developing or as developers, we have that opportunity to say what is going on with the application. Because how sad is to spend a lot of money developing an app if no one's like it. No one likes it. So here is what we're going to talk today. The usability heuristics. These are a series of rules of thumb that helps to identify and prevent usability problems. Some rules, 10 rules specifically, 10 rules to consider when we are conceptualizing, designing, developing, or even maintaining a digital product. This could be a guide to understand what's going on in the application. You will see that these principles, some of these principles could be very obvious, like say, duh, okay, I know that we shouldn't be doing that. But it's very important to understand what's going on and don't commit the same mistakes that sometimes we are committing in a daily basis. So these are 10 usability heuristics to guide you building great user-centric digital products. These 10 heuristics that are based on the Jakob Nielsen's ones that he have stated since the 90s. Jakob Nielsen is a researcher of user experience with a lot of, it's so-called the father of user experience. And he have worked a lot in these heuristics to prove with testing, with psychological testing, with a lot of users to prove that these 10 heuristics will guide us to build better products. So let's get into the first one. What can we do to start building a great product without even touching any kind of design? This could be achieved even when we are starting to develop a product, we are in a proof of concept, we are in an early stage of the developing process when we don't have all the information of the product, but we have to start coding something right now. So the first heuristic is called visibility of system status. And this principle states that the user should know what's going on inside the system. And again, we're talking about the user here. We have to develop a product that is useful for the users. And in this case, sometimes when we are developing some products, we start putting buttons, for example, and we don't put a loader or a progress bar or something. So the user clicks and nothing happens. We as developers know that the data is saved, or that there's a background process after the click. But maybe the user doesn't know that, and he's worried about, okay, I clicked this and what? And nothing happened. I'm going to dislike the app just for that. So in the example, we see we are transferring your life savings. I think that is something relevant to know for a user, or for some of us. We are transferring your life savings. Well, let's show a progress bar that you know that something is happening in the background. Sometimes we don't even think of that. We assume that the user will know that something will happen after he clicked the button. So let's try to give visibility of the system status. If something is saving, if something just got saved in the system, let's notify the user that something is going on. Don't stress out. Wait for it. Don't worry. We are working on it. Something is happening. So the first one is this one. Okay, the second one: match between system and the real world. This is important for the application to speak the language of the user. And this is a very common one when we are developing in also early stages of a digital product. Because sometimes for speeding purposes, we are starting to build a screen. I put a button, a label, I click this, I click that. And sometimes the language that we use when we are defining labels or buttons are very non-human. Like in the example, let's say that we are going to take all of your money, and we put a button that say accept. And this could sound for you like, okay, accept, that's logical. But when you go to a bank and someone tells you, okay, we are going to take all of your money, you don't stand like straight and say, accept, like a robot or something. No, because we are humans. We communicate like humans. So let's try to communicate that the application communicates to the user in the way they do, like humans. Like, okay, I agree that you can take all of my money. Sometimes we are afraid to put too much text in a button. Let's put the right amount of text to communicate some language that is the same language that a human will use when using an application. It's very important for the users to understand what's going on and to communicate the application with, and the application should communicate with them as the same way of communication. So sometimes instead of accept, maybe it could be okay, I'm aware of that, or something like that. But be more human when we are writing some labels or buttons in the application. Number 3, user control and freedom. This principle talks about giving the user the freedom to navigate and perform actions, the freedom to undo any accidental actions. And let's take the first example of transferring your life savings. Maybe someone misclicked that, and that could be a huge mistake, right? Okay, it's transferring my life savings. Damn, I didn't want it to do that. So what can I do about it? Maybe a cancel button, so the user have control of the things that is going on right now. And this could be we could have so many examples right now. No? For example, when I don't know if you have noticed in Gmail, when you send an email, brings out a toast message that says undo the send of this email. That's a very cool feature, because if you misclicked and you didn't want it to send already the email, gives you the control to undo that action of not sending that email. And that is a very cool feature on these products, or any other product, when you can recover a deleted item. It's a good example of giving the user control and freedom of what is going on in the application. Also, this kind of confirmation options, so the user can configure the application, etc. So let's try to give the user some control and freedom to interact with some functionalities of the application. The number 4 is consistency and standards. And in applications, consistency is key. Let's say, for example, a submit button in one page should look the same across the site on any page. And this is mainly how can we make a consistent environment of interaction with the users. For in this example, this purple color should represent those elements in the page that the user can interact with. So when the user is navigating through the application and sees this kind of colors, maybe he can already know that he can interact with these buttons, and he don't have to guess that where he should click to add some item to the cart or something like that. So starting making this consistency and standards across the platform could help the users to reduce this learning curve. So whenever they see these patterns, they know what to do with that. And also a very interesting point here is don't being afraid of following standard conventions. Other applications, what are using other applications? Maybe lead applications, very wide used applications. In this case, but let's take, for example, Facebook and his like button. It's right now, it's a very, very standard option to agree with something, this famous like button. In his time, Google tried with Google Plus, as you may know, and they tried to do his +1 button. But Facebook was already positioned in this category of the like button was very spread out. So trying to make your own way of people agreeing with something was very difficult, because people have already standardized that convention of the like button. So it was a very risky situation for Google to change that mindset of the people. In my social network, you're not going to like it. You are going to +1 it. So we don't have to be afraid of using riskless options that are already working for other environments and working for them and very spread out, so that we can use it in our systems. The next one is error preventions. And, well, let's say good error messages are good, but preventing the user for making mistakes is better. This one is one of that I said earlier that, okay, that's obvious. Let's try that the user doesn't make any mistakes. But it's very hard that we can control that the users don't commit any mistakes. So in this case, what we should try to do is, I don't know if you have seen also this very cool feature of some email clients like Gmail or Outlook, that when you're typing the body of the message, you type okay, I'm attaching you this file so you can check it out, and then just click the send button. But the application don't send the mail, but warns you about, didn't you forget to attach any file? It only recognizes the words in the body of the message that you were going to attach a file, but you didn't, and you tried to send the message, and the application reminded you that, aren't you committing a mistake right here? Don't send it without the attached message. That's a very cool feature to prevent the user of committing a mistake, right? So whenever we could try to prevent the user's mistakes by giving them some information. Maybe when they are trying to type a password, I don't know, a reminder that should be 8 characters long, or maybe some special characters, I don't know. But we could prevent the error before it happens. The next one is recognition rather than recall. And in this case, we should try to minimize the use of the user's memory. And there's some neat features in some applications and very spread out solution to this. And one of the most used solutions to help the users not using a lot of their memory is using icons. Sometimes the user don't have to read all the description of the menu because they know what the icon means in some cases. In this example, maybe the icon of changing the layout of the page, like grid layout or a list layout. So the users just observing these icons, they know what is going to happen when they tap it. Also, a very interesting way of achieve this recognition rather than recall is what some applications do. That is, when you have worked in a document earlier, when you open the application reminds you what was the last document that you were working with. So that's a very helpful way to help the user to say, okay, here are your last accessed items. So you don't have to remember where did you save that file, where is that file located, because it's recently used. So you are helping the users to minimize that use of memory. In this case, some like I said before, something that is very used is the use of icons. It's a very risky one in some cases because sometimes the icons doesn't are the option to represent complex concepts because the icon could be too small or something. But it's a work of defining where are the limits when you can use icons, when you can use a tooltip, when you can use some things to help the user use less memory. Okay. Number 7, flexibility and efficiency to use. This is a very used, very spread out option in desktop environments, in applications. And I bet as developers, you have a lot of skills in keyboards, like learning a lot of shortcuts that help you to get to some point or some functionality with the easiest possible the less clicks possible. And in this case, we should try to achieve that flexibility in processes that can be carried out in different ways. And let the user speak what is the easiest way to achieve that process. In this example is, I don't know if this happens in iOS, but in Android, when you have some applications, when you have long press over the application icon, you have these shortcuts to do some main functionalities of the application. And that is an alternative of doing that process. Like, I don't know, to create a new page, for example. You click the application, launch the application, you go to the button that says, okay, create a new document, and you create that new document. In this case, you give the flexibility of use to the users when he long press a button, and there it is the option for creating a new document. This is a very common option or common solution in a lot of desktop applications. We have commands, Word, for example. When you are working in typing a word, you select it. It shows you a little tooltip that has shortcuts to bold text, to color of the text, etc. That you don't have to reach to the bottom of the top of the application to find out where is the bold option. You have this little shortcut. Also, you have the shortcut of the Control B option for bold text. So let's find ways to let the user complete the process in different ways, so the user can pick which one is the easiest one. And sometimes we don't think about these things when we are developing, for example, an app. And sometimes we could propose that, okay, the user should add a new credit card here, and here. And maybe we could say, okay, that's an option, but we could do a more sophisticated way or more advanced way, like if the user maintain this click, it automatically creates the credit card. So we could start thinking about new ways of solving different kind of processes. Another one is aesthetics and minimalistic design. And this is a very cool one because sometimes when we are working on some applications, we know which one or what are the main functionalities of the application. And sometimes, I don't know why, but we make unnecessary difficulties to access these main functionalities. Sometimes the stakeholder said, okay, I need to launch a pop-up in this moment so the user knows that I'm to tell them Merry Christmas. Yeah, but that's not the main functionality. Let's help the user go right away to the main functionalities. One of a good example that I find, I don't know if you have used Shazam. When you open the application, you are in a very particular context. Maybe you are in a restaurant, maybe you are in the car, you are in the street, and you are hearing a song that, damn, that's a good song. I want to know what song it is. You need very, very fast to open the app and start scanning the song because maybe the song is going to end soon. So the main functionality is in one click, very fast. Maybe if the developers of this app launches a pop-up in front of the button, how frustrating with that should be to you when you are in that moment of I have to know which song I'm hearing right now because it's about to end, and they are interrupting your experience with the process. So we should try to achieve to clear unnecessary elements from the screen and remove all that unwanted things from the main functionality. Google is another good example. When you type google.com or to do google dot wherever your domain is, it goes right away to the search box. You don't have another thing that is between you and your final goal. That is start searching. Even the browsers, you can start typing the word in the address bar, and you're already searching in the browser. I don't know, but maybe a cool feature for minimalistic design, or the most minimalistic design when using an application, could be maybe voice commands, because you don't even have to interact with an interface. You just say, "Hey Siri, hey Google, whatever, and find me pictures of kittens in the internet," and that's it. You didn't even have to click any button to achieve that content. So let's try not to let's try to clear unnecessary elements between the user and their objective. Number 9, help users recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors. And this is a big one, because no system is free from errors. Let's face that. We as developers have to know when errors happen. Sometimes we put some errors in the console. Sometimes, meanwhile, we are developing the product, we are putting some temporary errors on the screen, so you know, okay, the service is not responding, the database is doing his thing. Okay, and I put those errors so I can understand them. But sometimes, and I say a lot of times, those errors got their way into production. Sometimes those errors, the user gets an error of, okay, database, not something, and the spec is exception, something, 3005, something. And the user is like, okay, I don't know what's going on. And then the application shuts down. So the user says, okay, what just happened here? I'm going to the App Store and I'm going to rate it the worst as possible I can, because I don't know what's going on. So what this principle says is, let's help out the user to recover from these errors. Let's face that the error will occur. Okay, it's another topic, that how can we prevent errors? But let's say that the application is going to have an error. How the user in his journey is going to recover from that error? To tell them, okay, you don't have internet. Please try this, activating your Wi-Fi or whatever, and try again. So there was an error of no connection, and we said to the user, okay, we detected that you don't have a connection. Try this to solve it. So try it and come back again. Okay, at least we are helping the user to diagnose what is going on, and telling him what to do to recover from that. And that could be a lot of there could be a lot of examples in this case. Maybe even when we are typing a password, the classic password error, that the password have a minimum of 8 characters, and you put that border, red border around the input of the input password, so the user can know that the password is wrong, and the password should be 8 characters long. And obviously, like I said in a previous one, trying to use an understandable language to the user, avoiding those abstract messages of error in the application is key for the users to help us out, giving us a good rating in the applications and helping in recovering from errors. here is another cool example are in the websites are the 404 errors that are very creative. You know that there's a lot of errors in the application, but you try to recover from them with style. Sometimes you put a cool animation. Okay, the page was not found, but you can type here another word, and you can find another content that might be useful for you. And the last one is help and documentation. We know that if the users get into this point, maybe we know that we are doing something wrong, right? We shouldn't let them look for help and documentation because the application should be as intuitive to help them out, get the process done. But in that case, we should have concrete steps to help the users complete their tasks. A very common one is the FAQ, or frequently asked questions in the applications. So we can document there some possible solutions for the users to complete whatever process is in the applications. We could have maybe a chatbot that can help the user to recover from some mistakes or some misunderstanding in the application. And we should always have this help ready for the users to use and help them out to complete the processes. Because if the user don't complete the process, maybe we are missing some return of investment with the application. So we should try to guarantee that the user can complete the process of purchase or the process, whatever process could be, so the user can complete the process or complete the task. These are the 10 features that we could speak that we're going to speak about that we already spoke about in this talk. This is a guide that can help us out when we are starting a digital product. We can go back, check out this guide of usability and check out if we are not missing something. This is a very interesting tool because we can use it before building the product or while we are building the product to know what we are doing or what we are not doing, or even if we are getting into a already built product, we could have this checklist and start browsing the product and say, okay, let's start. Let's say visibility of status. You start using the product and you say, okay, this button is not giving us a good visibility of status of the process that is going on in the background. Okay, another checklist. Let's check out the user control and freedom. Okay, the user is deleting here his account, for example, and the user don't have an option to recover from deleting his account, or the user don't have control of something in deleting some item of his cart, for example, if he's buying something. So we could have a checklist to make an assessment. And you don't have to be a designer or you don't have to be a stakeholder to do this, because you have some experience to know what is going on in the application. You can use it and use these guidelines as a checklist to know what's going on in the application, if it's consistent, if it matches between the system and the real world. What another one? it is helping the user to recover from errors. It has flexibility of use. You can start diagnosing the application and start making changes or suggesting changes to the stakeholders, telling them, okay, my assessment will give you value because I detected these errors in your application. You can, there's a lot of internet, in internet there's a lot of templates for heuristic evaluation, where you can parse these 10 principles in the application and diagnose what is going on in the application, what things is not covering the application, and all of us as consultants, we can help out the stakeholders to give valuable opinion of the status of the product. As I said, this could be very helpful. These are the 10 principles that I was going to talk to you about. I think we got the talk really fast, and that's it. In fact, that's it. I could recommend you some references. The book, the yellow one, that the design of everyday things. It's a very interesting book that you can read and check out how all the things you use in your daily basis can help you out to comprehend how the products are made, how to understand really what's behind the design of a lot of products, what are well worked, what are not. There's a PDF that I'm going to put in the chat that is a free poster of these 10 heuristics that you could print out. You can save it in your computer when you have when you are dealing with an application that has questionable development. Maybe some other person has done it. You have your doubts that it's well done. You can go back, check out the heuristics, make you a checklist, check it out, and give your to the stakeholders maybe a report, some recommendations, and help them out. We are here to help out the projects, and we all can do this without being a designer. I think all of you that are in this session could have the criteria to know what is going on. I'm very sure of that. Checking this, you can start on your own criteria, telling if it completes the checklist or not. What is good, what is bad, and with experience, you will know what is the best option for the products. And if you want to stay in touch with me, feel free to send me an email. I'm in the Mexican office of Babel Creativa. Feel free to reach out if I can help you out with anything else about UX design. If you want to make another afterwork of different topic, maybe about the design process, you may know that even in that you don't have to be a designer to start making better user experiences in digital products. So let me know if you want to talk a little more. You can send me a Teams message, an email. We are going to have our general reunion in a couple of days. Reach out and getting the Mexican Teams call to say hi. I will really look for it. And that's it. I'm gonna head out. Thank you all for your participation, for being here. Thank you very much.